The army sends their archers to fire at the explosive hay bales, but they do nothing to stop the warriors from charging into the battlefield, coming out of a cloud of smoke unfazed. The movie begins halfway through the 15th century. Moldavia and Wallachia were annexed. As a peace offering, Murad II accepts Wallachia's young royals, Radu and Vlad, to his stead, raising them with his son, Mehmed. Over time, Vlad embraces hatred and evil, becoming the maniacal impaler to tyrannize the Ottomans. In contrast, Sultan Mehmed becomes the father of conquest, spreading peace throughout the land. One day, he sends an envoy to deliver a message to Vlad, warning him that his actions have consequences. He quickly dismisses this and brutally kills the envoy in the area filled with corpses to exercise his maniacal power. Later, Mehmed calls for the shaman, Baba Sultan, to alert a group of brave Muslim warriors, the valiants, to come to his aid and deliver justice with their exceptional combat skills. They are led by the ruthless dark-winged commander, the skywolf Gokurt. The men gather atop a mountain to declare their allegiance to the Sultan and vow their everlasting service to the Turkish motherland. Baba Sultan blesses them before they ride toward Vlad's kingdom. Simultaneously, Vlad visits the secret laboratory of his nefarious alchemist, Simyasi, furiously demanding he speeds up his experiments to produce his biological weapon to wreak havoc across the empire, a plague of diseased rats. He sends his army to order the townsfolk to hunt down all the rats they can find, killing an old man asking for gold. By sunset, he talks to his lover, Princess Elizabeth, declaring he is God's wrath sent to destroy all that Mehmed holds dear and erase him from history. The following day, the valiants rest in a cave to take shelter from a storm. The seer, Kuman, sings a battle hymn to inspire the group, while Oscar meditates in the rain while recalling the events that led to his brother's death on the battlefield. Gokurt convenes the men and outlines their plan of attack in the sand, discussing the safest way to enter the Romanian city, Târgoviște, while eliminating Vlad's soldiers who patrol the borders. With a unanimous decision made, they set off with their horses on the north path. Meanwhile, Simyasi tends to the newly delivered vermin when he gets summoned by Princess Elizabeth for a progress update. She angrily threatens him with a knife, hoping he is telling the truth that the red moss for the plague will be effective. As she leaves to tell the good news to Vlad, a local boy, Aaron, who is eavesdropping on the conversation, runs to his fisherman father, divulging Vlad's plans of putting the rats in cages for experimentation on a biological weapon. Elsewhere, a beautiful maiden, Alika, is feeding soup to her adoptive blacksmith father when Vlad's raiding party terrorizes the town, looting all the silver and gold while killing some citizens. The blacksmith tries to protect Alika but gets stabbed in the chest by a soldier. As chaos ensues, the valiants reach an overlook and see the town decimated from a distance, prompting them to investigate. Soon, the vicious guardsmen ransack the entire village and gang up on Alika on the street. She tries fighting back with a burning wooden stick, but the men overpower her. Luckily, the valiants swoop in and disrupt them. Gokurt rescues Alika on his horse as the men exercise their bloodthirst by viciously slaughtering them with their weapons. With the threat defeated, they console a grieving Alika weeping at the blacksmith's corpse. Meanwhile, the mute warrior, Suskan, discovers a baby next to its dead mother's body, forcing him to flash back to a time when a bandit stabbed his mother's throat, leaving him orphaned. Even though most consider him feeble-minded, he promises to be responsible for the child's upbringing. Unbeknownst to the group, a mysterious man spies on them, disappointed with the outcome of the events. Elsewhere, the vicar Kara Ali is presented with a fish holding a message in its mouth, feeling nervous reading about Vlad's plans witnessed by Aaron. Later in the afternoon, the valiants and Alika roam the desert, passing by a sheep farmer who Suskan pays for milk. Alika explains to Oscar that her entire bloodline was killed by Vlad's thugs, which forces her to hide her Orthodox Christian faith to survive. Oscar feels compassion, believing the empire cannot disrespect anyone for their religion. Meanwhile, Vlad hears out one of the bandits that escaped the valiants' onslaught, getting a description of their appearance. He loses patience when the man cannot recall how many warriors he saw, compelling him to beat his head on the dinner table before telling his commander to find the valiants. Sometime after traveling a long way, the warriors and Alika reach a gypsy camp, where the hostess Rosa invites them to a wedding party. Meanwhile, the vicar spies on Simyasi while he tests his concoction on a living corpse and feeds the rats to prepare them for the plague. Simultaneously, the gypsy helps Alika feed the baby while sharing stories about their escape from Vlad's tyranny, living in the shroud of the Ottomans. The valiants enjoy the campfire when the spy from Târgoviște offers them soup for dinner, immediately casting doubt on the warriors about his true intentions. After spending the night in the camp, they prepare to leave without Alika, who Oscar insists on staying behind to keep her safe from the dangers that await them. Suskan's adoptive baby is given to Rose's maidens under Galurk's orders. Alaka vows to dedicate her life to raising her until they return. Before departing, Galurk comforts an orphaned Turkish child whose family was killed by Vlad's people, assuring her that Allah has heard her pleas for vengeance. Elsewhere, a papal envoy visits Vlad to deliver a message from Pope Pius II, presenting him with a crown to make him the designated protector of Christianity, acknowledging his efforts of driving away the Turks from the kingdom. Unfortunately, he does not accept being used by the papacy, insisting everyone will bow down to him as the Son of God when he eradicates Sultan Mehmed. He forces the envoy to kiss his ring before he is allowed to return to the church. Later, the valiants rest somewhere along a forest path and have a deep discussion. Mubarak shares thoughts about his beautiful homeland nestled near the Caspian Sea. Oscar eases Suskan's mind about the baby being left behind with Alaka and the gypsies, calling out Conger for his callous behavior. Galurk reminds him that with all the bloodshed they've caused, they can either keep their mouths shut entirely or face the trials ahead with a hearty laugh of determination. Meanwhile, Kuman meditates, transporting him to the void of higher consciousness to communicate with Baba Sultan. The shaman delivers an ominous warning about the dangers that lie ahead. As he awakens, Galurk and the men get ambushed by a group of Vlad's bandits, who fire an arrow at Conger, leading to his untimely demise. Afterward, they let Kuman take the unconscious Conger somewhere to be revived while the rest wait for answers. At night, the warrior reawakens from his near-death state through the spiritual intervention of Kuman and Baba Sultan, relieving the valiants who wait patiently in a cave. They continue their journey to Vlad's kingdom by dawn. Along the way, they seek food in a tavern where patrons cheer loudly for a brutish thug named Victor, whose record in the gauntlet has been undefeated. He insults the men as they eat, prompting Suskan to accept his challenge in a brawl. The mute warrior gets the upper hand in the fight, breaking the thug's leg and beating his face, shocking the audience while the valiants focus on feeding themselves. Later, they reach a riverbank but find the rushing water unsuitable for drinking. As Adsize draws something potable from the other side of the river, he catches the Tergovishte spy approaching him from behind. Vlad's men arrive, allowing the man to strike Adsize from behind, knocking him unconscious. Almost immediately, Mubarak feels uneasy and leads the valiants to the other side of the river, finding evidence of Adsize's abduction. Later, Aaron and curious onlookers see the valiants enter the village, wondering about their purpose for visiting. They head toward the church, where Galurk happily reunites with Vicar Kara Ali, revealed as an adjacent member of their faction, using his position in the church to protect the people. He introduces Aaron as the youngest recruit, with Galurk blessing the young boy to guide them to the fishermen. Elsewhere, Adsize is chained inside the dungeon and gets visited by Vlad, who cuts off his fingers for withholding the valiants' identities. He orders the torturer to administer punishment until he talks. Simultaneously, the valiants set up camp at the fisherman's hut and formulate a plan to save Adsize and storm Vlad's castle. Kara Ali shares information about Vlad's secret weapon, revealing the plague that will spread through rabid rats. Galurk vows to end Vlad's oppression once they recover Adsize from the dungeon, while the vicar volunteers to stop the alchemist. The following morning, Galurk praises the fisherman for the boy's upbringing, leaving Aaron with his signature dark wings to signify his allegiance to the Order of the Valiants. Elsewhere, Vlad travels to the mountainside and prays for guidance to his late father at the overlook, declaring he will destroy the Turks once and for all. Meanwhile, the vicar carefully sneaks inside Simya C's cave laboratory, drawing his sword. With no one around, he scatters the explosive powder all over the workstation, setting off an explosion that destroys the concoction and kills the rats. Simultaneously, the valiants reach the meadow and see a badly bruised Adsize brought into the battlefield as a bargaining chip. Touched by the warrior's martyrdom, Galurk prepares his men as they face Vlad, reciting their bloodsworn oath. Annoyed by their chanting, Vlad slits Adsize's throat, prompting the valiants to attack. The army sends their archers to fire at the explosive hay bales, but they do nothing to stop the warriors from charging into the battlefield, coming out of a cloud of smoke unfazed. Vlad's horsemen attack, initiating an all-out skirmish, with the valiants slaughtering their way through the chaotic scene. Galurk sees an armored Vlad sword fighting, sending him into a bloodthirsty rage. Within minutes, the soldiers fall prey to the valiants, whose skills are unmatched by their years of defending their homeland from oppressors. During the brawl, Suskan pauses upon seeing the commander's face, recognizing that he was responsible for killing his mother when he was younger. He angrily lunges at him with his weapons while Galurk and Vlad fight each other face to face. Suskan delivers massive blows to his weak spots, overpowering him. As the commander falls, he stabs him in the neck, allowing him to complete his vengeance. Meanwhile, Mubarak avenges Adsize's death by killing Vlad's spy. Not long after, as the tide of battle turns in the valiants' favor, Galurk sees a vision of a wolf, inspiring him to finish off Vlad with a fatal stab to his chest. The dying tyrant removes his helmet and prays to his father, admitting defeat and declaring he cannot be killed. Ghalurk beheads him in the name of Allah, ending his reign. With Vlad's death, Suskan breaks his vow of silence, screaming out their victory. The valiants grieve at size, with Mubarak changing his name to Hansa, Hunter of Lions, a moniker shared with the patron of the martyrs. Despite losing their fallen comrade, they solidify their allegiance to the Order of the Valiants, continuing the vow to protect the motherland. As they march on the field carrying their war flag, Ghalurk declares that he is destined to die on the battlefield, letting the valiants carve his declaration in his gravestone. Baba Sultan continues telling their victorious story, cementing their reputation in Turkish history as legends. The movie ends in Vlad's kingdom, where the alchemist returns to his cave, swearing the war is not over, as Princess Elizabeth presents a diseased rat inside a cage. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.